Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of this series called Rebuilding Your Team. And for the first time, we're going to look at an MLB team. And in this edition, we're helping Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani get a ring. These two are once in a generation type of players and they deserve to win it all. And that's what we're going to try to do today. This, of course, is expecting the lockout to end soon, because we miss baseball and we hope it is back. All stats are from Fangraphs, Baseball Reference, and Baseball Savant, along with the percentile ranks from there. Also, the contracts, as always, are from Spotrac. We're going to start setting some off-season goals. For the first season, we need to get a shortstop. After a long time defensive with Simmons left the Angels, we went to get Tyler Wade from the Yankees, but he's a good bet option, not a starting shortstop. That's why we're getting one. Get a starting pitcher one. The Angels started free agency with a bang to get Thor, but after injuries he can't be trusted as an ace. And Shohei is not there yet because he can't give you 200 innings a year. So we need a true starting pitcher one. Improve the bullpen. Yes, they did resign Rysel and got Luke back, but there still is a gap from the bottom of the bullpen. So we need at least one or maybe two veteran arms to help them. Develop Marsh and Adele. They were top prospects as outfielders and still have a lot of potential, and they have shown some flashes of it. They are great defenders, but we need to get their bats going. And lastly, make the playoffs. This is easy. We have two of the top 5 or 7 players in the league, so they have to play in October. Now, as I said, we're starting with a bump and getting a shortstop, and that's why we're going for free agent shortstop Trevor Story. Don't let 2021 fool you. He's great. He has a career slash line of 272, 340, and 523. He has 20 plus home runs in every full season, and he's great defensively, having 9 defensive runs saved last year. Yes, his help outside of average, were not great this year, but he still is overall a great defender. In 2019, he had 18 outs above average. He's arguably a top 5 or 3 shortstop. All the advanced stats love him, having a 3.362 WOBA, 100 WRC plus, that's right above average, and a 3.5 FWAR and 4.2 BWAR. His agent has said that he does not want a long-term deal, so we're giving him a 2-year, $28 million deal with a $30 million player option for the third year. For starting pitcher, we are going to get the top arm in the market, in my opinion, in Carlos Rodan. The only issue he has is injuries. He's never pitched over 150 innings, but the innings he throws, he dominates. Right until the All-Star break, he was a top 3 Cy Young candidate. In overall last season, he had a .96 WHIP, a 1.83 ERA plus, a 2.65 FIP, a 27.9 Ks minus walks percentage. So he's dominant, and he's still getting his prime. That's why we're getting our new ace on a 6-year deal for $23 million each of these 6. Now for the next stop, we're going to get 2 bullpen arms. First, we're going to get a dominant race veteran in Colleen Mchugh. As I said, he was dominant, and there's no other way to say it, out of the bullpen in 2021. But that's what the Rays do. Yes, he's old. That's why we want him on a short deal. He won't be throwing a high 90s fastball, but you can't get hard contact of him. He'll mainly throw sliders and cutters at you, but it works. He had a 1.55 ERA, a 30% K rate, a 2.56 ERA plus, and .93 WHIP, a 2.12 FIP, and he simply was great out of the bullpen. Yet they didn't use him late in games, but still, he was a specialist in right time, right moment. He would be getting a 1-year, $8 million deal to bring him to Anaheim and bolster our bullpen. For our final signing, we're going to get for free agent inside of our division. No way the A's are bringing Andrew Chafin back, so we're snatching him. After being traded mid-season, Chafin showed he's a top caliber left-handed bullpen arm, having a 2.30 ERA plus, a 2.98 FIP, a .93 WHIP. Yes, he won't strike out a lot of batters, but everyone seems to ground up or pop up against him. So we're giving him a 2-year deal for $6.5 million. Now our rotation runs up with Rodan, Thor, and Ohtani on the top to give us experience. The only thing that worries me are the injuries, but if we get 80% out of each of these guys, we're in a great spot. Our 4 and 5 pitchers are youngsters Sandoval and Suarez. We have some good options in the minors, as our top prospects are starting pitcher if anything goes wrong. Our bullpen is looking great with Raisel as closer, Mchugh looped for the later innings, and Chafin as a lefty specialist to get us out of jams. The rest of our bullpen has Myers, Warren, and Wantz for depth or early outs, and Lorenzen as our second two-way player that can give you some length if the starter gets into trouble. Now, as for the lineup, we have breakout player Stasi as our catcher. Our infield is Rendon, Story, Fletch, and Walsh from third to first. This is not the best defensive infield, but it's not bad. They are all great overall hitters. And our outfield has Adele, Marsh, and Trout, who apparently the Angels want to put on left field so he can stay healthy. Our DH, of course, is the 2021 unanimous MVP Shohei Ohtani. In the bench we have speed, depth, and defense to balance our lineup. They could help us in the later innings. I like this team to make the playoffs as both the A's and Astros are declining so we can fight for a wildcard spot or even the division. I see this team around 90 to 95 wins more or less. Now for our 23 off-season plan, we need to resign Thor. Of course, this is assuming that he can stay healthy and be a little bit closer to what we were used to in the Mets at the beginning of his career. He could be a great starting pitcher 2 or even 3. Replace Mchugh. Let's hope Colleen was great the year we have him, but as he gets older he will get worse. We could get him for 1 year back, but looking at the free agency options, there are a lot of younger and better arms out there. Trade for a big bat. As I said, this is all in, so we're going to get a big bat to play with us. There are a few on the last year of their contract that can be available on trades, or even in free agency there are a few options, so we will look into that. Resign Stasi. He has been as underrated as it gets in the catching position, so we have to keep him as the market is very low in that position. And finally, we need to win the division. The Astros dynasty is over, the A's are rebuilding and even relocating, and before the Mariners kids become stars, we have to go win it. We should be the favorites if our stars can stay healthy, because we have a lot of injury-prone players. As I said, priority number 1 will be re-sign Thor. As I said, this is assuming he can stay healthy. If not, we can call someone up or move Lorenzen to the rotation. But if he's around 80% of his 2016 to 2018 version, we can sign him for an extension of around 3 years and $20 million each. He's a great starting pitcher too. He has a career 3.32 ERA, a 1.16 WHIP, and an ERA plus a little bit around 120, at 119 to be exact. And after a dreadful 2021 with a 9 ERA in 2 starts, I could not find a previous Baseball Savant graphic, so I did not put it like with everyone else. But he still has some high velocity in both fastball and sinker that can open space for his changeup. And before he used to have a slider that he did not throw in 2021, and maybe can make a comeback. Now, for the next step, let's expect that Mchugh was good in 2022. But realistically, there's a little to no chance that he replicates what he did in 2021. He will be 36, so it's a lot of regression, and maybe even injuries. So we're going for a younger and better player. We're getting Ryan Presley. The former Astro had a career year in 2021 with a 2.25 ERA, a .97 WHIP, a 2.06 FIP, and an ERA plus at 191. As you can see in his metrics, he's great. The only issue is he can get hit hard, but he's a closer that we can move a little bit early in games. Or we can use him as a righty specialist if things get tough. As I said, we're making a big leap. We're going all in. That's why we're trading for a big bat. And we need a ring for Trout while he's in a good age. That's why, and before we make some decisions with the rosters, because Ohtani and Trevor Story and many are in expiring contracts. And that's why we're looking at 2 players that are in the last year of their contracts, and one is in the Guardians and the other one in the D-backs. The thing is, I expect J-Ram to be traded this year at the deadline, so we're getting second baseman and outfielder in Ketel Marte. He was great in 2019, where he was 4th in MVP voting, and in 2021, he was injured for a long part. He had a 318, 377, and 532 slash line with a 143 OPS plus. Yes, he did only have 374 plate appearances, but still, those numbers are insane. He's not great defensively on the outfield, so we're getting him to play second base. As he is a rental, he may not be as expensive as when the Yankees tried to trade for him last year. So we're giving them our second baseman Fletcher and prospects shortstop Arol Vera, who is the number 3 in the team, and starting pitcher Junk, that is the 7th overall prospect in the Angels. Also, we're giving them Calabrese, that is the 30th, and he's an outfielder, but he's young. I know this is a little bit too much for a rental, but he's an all-star kind of player. He's a switch hitter with pop that can spray hits all over the field and is great at second base. And as I said, we're going all in. So I don't need a prospect that will be ready in 4 or 5 years when Trout will be 38. As I said at the beginning, we need to resign the most underrated catcher in the league. He's for sure a top 10 guy at the position. Last year he slashed at 241, 326, and 426 for an OPS plus of 104, so he's above average hitting. He had a WOBA at .327 and a 107 WRC plus with a 2.9 FWAR. So as I said, offensively he's slightly above average, but he's ranked 87 percentile ranks in baseball savant in framing. And even if he doesn't have the best arm, he has a great reaction time and pop jump to throw the base stealers. He was a Gold Glove finalist last year. He will be 32, so we're giving him a 3-year deal for $12 million each. But the last year will be a club option. In case money gets tight or our players start declining and we need to go to rebuild, we can let him walk. Well, there it is, our pitching rotation that mostly stayed pretty much the same. The only change was Presley for Mchugh. The rotation stayed good, but if we could get Noah back. I like the top 3 of the rotation a lot, and as I said, our 4 and 5 still can develop into great players. The bullpen is pretty balanced with Loop and Chafin as our big lefties, and Raisel Iglesias has proven to be an elite closer. And as for our lineup, you already know the main change. We're getting Hetel for the middle of the infield instead of Fletcher. We also lost Upton for a range to free agency, and he may even retire. So we're calling up our top outfield prospect left in Orlando Martinez. He can help defensively, and it's always good that he can get some major league at-bats under his belt. This starting 9 is loaded and may go head-to-head with anyone. The only thing that worries me is that some of our players are injury prone and we don't have the depth to cover it up. Well, there you have it, my 2-year plan for the LA Angels. I can perfectly see the roster winning the AL West as long as we have our stars out every night. This feels like 103 win team, and that should be enough to win our division that gets weaker each year, aside from the Mariners kids. I'm not saying this team is ring or bust or anything, but we do have everything to compete before we see Trout go. This is tough because as the CBA meetings have not been going on well, we do not have an exact luxury tax, so I try to stay around the 211 million mark from last year's, but the Angels management has said they plan on going a little bit over it. I stay around that edge, and as each year it gets a little bit higher, I could have been better, but let me know what you think of the signings and the big trade, and if this team can win a ring. Thanks for watching and see you next time.